Oh my Lanta. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have some extremely big, some of the biggest news in the game. More related to the gun of this thing. This is the FV4005 with a 183mm gun. Officially, when it's added, will be the biggest gun in the game. And if you look forward into the future of War Thunder, this might be the biggest gun that we'll ever see in the game across all the branches of military, such as the tanks, the Air Force, and Navy. I mean, even if they add ships such as a destroyer, the biggest gun that we might see is a 130mm Russian destroyer gun. So before we get overly excited about the FV4005, we're going to be reading from the dev blog, seeing how it's going to work in the game, and also I'm going to be giving you guys a lot more cons than pros about this tank. So from the dev blog, this is the FV4005 Stage 2. I believe the Stage 1 had an autoloader, so count your stars, enemy tanks, or the tanks that would be versing the FV4005 with a 183mm gun that was modified from an artillery piece, with the gun being 7.2 inches. And to be completely exact, 7.2 inches is 182.9mm. So I don't know if the FV4005 added 0.1mm on, or they just rounded up, but this is one hell of a gun. This tank was a single prototype that underwent test trials and was based on the Centurion hull with a massive turret and a very thin layer of armor protection for the mantlet. But continuing on with the dev blog, they say both versions, that's Stage 1 and Stage 2. Remember, Stage 1 is the one with the autoloader that, thank gosh, we don't have. Or personally, I would like to use it, but I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't like an auto-loading 183mm. They say that it was closely designed to the FV4004. That's one that we already have in game, aka the Conway with 120mm. Very powerful gun, but a decently slow reload, and we'll get more onto that. But they say the Stage 2 was powered by the Rolls-Royce Meteor engine. Now, that's not the engine that powered the Meteor jet. The Rolls-Royce Meteor engine is just what it was called, and it was actually derived from a Merlin engine, and it put out about 650 horsepower. The FV4005 was able to reach 18 miles an hour, 29 kilometers an hour on flat terrain. To me, this tank kind of feels like the A10 of tanks, just by the way it was designed. I feel like a lot of the times tanks are designed with gun, armor, mobility all in mind. In the FV4004, I believe they designed the tank around the gun. There's no reason why this tank should move at 29 kilometers an hour top speed other than the humongous gun it has. War Thunder gives us some tips on how to approach the 4005 in War Thunder. They say a slow vehicle with a very thin layer of armor needs to be played with a peekaboo tactic, finding a suitable tactical position on higher ground that is able to hide the full profile of the vehicle and cooperate with other players to find unsuspecting victims for your state-of-the-art gun. That's probably the best situation it has. Now, I wonder what type of depression it has. With a gun that big, I don't think it will have more than like 8 or 9. And I think it will have probably about -5 depression, but we'll have to wait and see. They also state that the unarmored, it is armored, but it's very little armor. A massive turret is a dream for many of the enemies you will meet. It can be penetrated even by high caliber machine guns, and any received hits will cause damage to the much needed crew and the only strength of the tank, the firing compartment. So yeah, this tank is just a gun on tracks. And sure, that's how a lot of other tanks are, but this one really put all its eggs into the gun, and it sacrificed a lot of things for that. One, its top speed, 29 kilometers an hour. Sure, it's not the worst, but it's not the best. And how it seems like you need to play this tank is that you need to get into a very good position early game, and with 29 kilometers an hour, you're not going to be able to do that. Two is its armor on its mantlet. I believe the mantlet, or at least the front armor, around the gun is 14 millimeters of armor. So planes, M2A2s with a 50 cal can kill this tank from the front, or at least disable it. And with being such a big target, having such a big turret, it's going to be very easy to spot this tank from the air. And it only might take one rocket to hit the turret and the whole thing goes away, because the reason why the turret is so massive is because that's a huge ammunition rack. That's where the ammunition is stored. Now, maybe some of it is stored in the hull, but a lot of it is stored in the turret. So you put a rocket through there, you spray the 50 cals into there, and you might be able to detonate it. Another con to this tank is its slow reload. 183 millimeter, I can only fathom at how slow it's going to be. It's going to have to be slower than the KV2. It's going to have to be slower than the Broom Bar, I don't know how you want to say it. 183 millimeter, biggest gun in the game, biggest reload in the game. Another con, or a pro, is that it only shoots HESH. And HESH doesn't explode inside the tank. It squashes onto armor and then detonates and then ruptures the internal armor to allow shrapnel to go through the tank. And sometimes HESH doesn't work too well, but that's at about 105 millimeters. 183 millimeter HESH has to absolutely destroy the living cow manure out of an enemy tank. Now, the best place to shoot HESH, just a little tip. Now, you have to make sure that the armor values add up, but on a sloped surface. That way, the squash is more spread out. It covers more surface area, and more surface area, when detonated, creates more shrapnel inside of the tank. So just a little tip for you guys right there. Now, with knowing the cons and understanding that you are highly disadvantaged compared to other tanks. I mean, you're huge, you have no armor, your speed isn't good, you got a slow reload, you're able to be spotted across the map very easily. I don't personally give a crap, because you know why? I will be using the biggest gun in the game. But guys, that's gonna do it for me. I think right now the FV4005 is the tank that I'm looking forward to the most in the next patch 1.67. I hope this video was informative, you guys have enjoyed it, and you learned something from it. Until next time, have a great day. Peace out.